now that I got this thing to 20, I got to give my actual review of this thing and also the build I was using this whole time, which I might only change one ability, and it's going to be this tether. But I'm going to explain what I did here and also explain a little bit about the Void Gauntlet. Like, it's basically, there's two different ways to play it, actually. There's a support side of it, and then there's also the melee DPS side of it. Unfortunately, the range side of it is not very good. It's not very reliable. Light attacks and heavy attacks are not that good. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Even with a build like I have, which... you see, I have my intelligence almost to 300, and I have my focus at 150. So Void Gauntlet does scale with focus as well as intelligence. Intelligence is the main stat, and I'm still like doing like barely like 1,000 damage, you know, with the heavy attacks and shit like that. So like it's not very good with that. So when it comes to the range, I definitely don't recommend it for that. I recommend it for the melee, and it's basically for turning into the freaking Halo and pulling out the what is this thing called from Halo? I don't remember, but like basically you're just gonna run around and just melee the shit out of things, and that's like the main way to play this this whole set. So the biggest benefit to this weapon right now is that there's a lot of passives to lower the cooldown of your abilities. So you can technically spam your abilities with the way that I built my thing. And this is what I'm going to be showing with this. First off, the bread and butter of this entire weapon is easily the Void Blade. It's amazing. You pull that thing out, you're going to be doing awesome damage. And this is the main thing that you're going to be focusing on, is just doing this, and it also does some really nice debuffs in the process of that, and there's good passives that also coincide with it to boost up the damage even more, and also give it a lot of good self-healing, and as well as lowering cooldowns. So like, it's definitely the bread and butter of the whole entire set. I went with everything in the line, so fortified blade, so that's really good, so you can get your fortify for a few seconds, and that's if you're not using life staff. If you're using life staff also, the cool thing about it is that you could literally, like, you know, swap weapons, do like the orb of protection like this, and you'll get fortify, and then you're also getting another fortify by popping it, you see, for a few seconds. So that's some like awesome resistance right there just from doing that. Oh, you can teabag the video right now. Yeah, there you go. There goes evil right there. The next thing, critical damage on the Void Blade attack. So, like I said, this is a big crit damage type of set. There's a lot of things that really benefit a lot from crit chance and crit damage. So, like, I'll get to all that stuff. Leeching Blade is the final thing, and this has a life steal on it, so like it's really good. So on top of that, you're getting even more life steals from like Leeching Agony, this passive right here. So on critical hits, you'll get healing of 15% of the damage done. So that's really good. Another thing is you're going to be lowering your cooldowns a lot. So like, you see how this one, 5% cooldown reduction on all abilities after successfully hitting targets when they have 3 or more stacks of debuffs, which Void Blade stacks debuffs. You get this, what is it called? Disintegrate. So that happens and it stacks up to 3 times. So once that stacks up, it's going to be benefiting a lot from this refreshing frutality thing. So fatality, I think it's fatality. Yeah. So that's really good. And then for the other ability, Oblivion is really good, and it's mainly because like when you're standing in it, you're getting empower buffs, so you're getting 20% more damage to deal to the mobs. As well as it does a little bit of like a sprinkle bullshit 30% weapon damage. It's not worth it for the damage. It's mainly for getting the buff from Empower. So that's the main reason to be running this. Also, this passive right here makes it so that it weakens the enemy. So every time you hit an enemy while they're inside the void, if you hit them 3 times, they're getting a good 15% of their damage debuffed. So that's pretty good, especially for fighting like elites and stuff like that. It will definitely like lessen the load, and I feel like that would be a really nice little tank thing to do. Like even to support a tank, it would be really nice. I wonder if they stack. I'm not sure if the Oblivion stack like that. but it's definitely worth investigating. And then the last ability that I got is the tether, which the tether is completely up to you if you want to get. I personally enjoyed it, but I do want to explore some other options. Like for example, this petrifying scream is the only CC that you really get, and it's a root to hold them in place. I don't like the passives though, because they're very like meh. Like this one here is increases the duration by 1 second when the target is below 50% health. Like I don't think that's worth it, because most of the time I'm opening with this to keep them in place, especially if you want to nail them down inside the Oblivion. And if you're using like Ice Gauntlet, and then you use like the ice AoE, which I don't remember the name of it. Let me see. This one here, like the Ice Storm. So like you can throw Oblivion and then petrify them, and then throw Ice Storm, and then they're basically just stuck in the AoE to get killed. Like that's a really nice combo too. So if you wanted to try some kind of like range type build, that's the only thing that I could see like being viable, is something like that. With the tether, the main reason why I like it is because like you can perma all your abilities by using this, and it's mainly because of the first passive that you get right there. So successfully hitting a target that's tethered reduces the cooldowns by 5%. Basically, you could just tether the target like a main boss target or a harder mob to kill, and then you just sit there like, you know, doing your void melee attack thing on top of like putting your Oblivion downs. Because if you put all your abilities on cooldown, 10% critical chance while all your abilities are on cooldown. So that's a big deal. 10% increase the crit chance just for having everything on cooldown. So like basically like you just spam all 3 of your abilities, you tether something, you bring out your sword, and then you Oblivion, and then like you start striking, and your cooldowns start getting reduced like crazy. Like basically you can perma Oblivion. Like you can keep that thing on all the time if you're able to land your attacks. That's the whole thing. There's no grit in this set, and this is the biggest thing that's a huge downside with this whole entire set. You're gonna get knocked back all over the goddamn place, and it's not gonna be fun for you to like have to deal with all the bullshit of like constantly like just stuck on a wall and stuff. Like, so that's the biggest issue with this whole entire Void set, is that, you know, it's very melee oriented, but it doesn't give you the support that you need to be able to handle a good melee fight. So that's the downside with the whole weapon. But the passes are really nice with this. So like with the tether, mana regeneration with the tether, that's decent. It doesn't work that well, but it's okay. And then also Soul Eater, that gives you a heal at the end of it, yeah, after the tether is done. So that one's pretty good. So that's a quick little burst on top of like this final ability, the Void Caller. It stacks off of the amount of like debuffs you have and stuff like that. So once it hits like 6 stacks, it will put like an AoE heal on you that's similar to like Beacon from Life Gauntlet. I mean Life Staff. So like it'll put the beacon thing on you, and then it'll heal you for like the damage and stuff. Like it's really good. Like it actually works really well. So like there's a lot of like really good support with this whole set that works. So the rest of the passives, I pretty much got most of the passives here. So cooldown reduction on this one, and then I got this one on the top. 10% damage done when you're below 50% mana, which you're always going to be low on mana when you spam all your abilities. Like basically, like if you do this, you see I'm already below 50% mana. So right here I'll be doing 10% more damage or whatever, right? That's what it is. Yeah, 10% more damage right there. Boom. And the cool thing about the Void Gauntlet too is that when you go into the like the normal range attack mode, you see like this, if you hold down right click, it gives you your mana back, and it basically sucks your health down to give you mana back. It's really cool because basically you could always have mana all the time, on top of also remembering that if you have intelligence up to, I think it's right here, up to 200 points in intelligence, you get 10 mana when you dodge. So that's another thing. So you could basically like do that. So like what I like to do is like while, let me waste some of my mana down so you could kind of see. There we go. So like I could dodge and I can get some of my mana back that way. So like that's a good thing. So you could do that too if you're really desperate for mana and don't want to like drain your health down. You could always do that. But it's nice that it's able to do shit like that. Also, heavy attacks heal. At least the critical hits of a heavy attack, like the blast here, like this one, they heal you for a certain amount. It's like usually about 400 health or something, at least from what I've seen. So it's not bad, but it's not reliable enough to matter that much. But it's still something, I guess. So it is there. Okay, so and then the rest of the build. On the decay side, I picked up deadly range, so the very first one, just because there really wasn't anything else to really pick. But still, 10% damage for like your initial attack, it works. It's for heavy attacks. You're gonna be spending like most of your time in melee, by the way. But this one, a cooldown reduction. On with the when you're doing the suck thing to give yourself mana and like drain your health, this lowers your cooldowns of your Void Gauntlet. I wish that it would lower the cooldowns of even like your secondary weapon, but I guess that's asking too much. But like watch, it'll lower my cooldowns. Oh, you probably can't see it. Let me get rid of my thing. But look, you see, like it's lowering the cooldowns down. See? So then it procced. And then I can put all my abilities on cooldown again. Let me heal myself so I don't die. You see? So I can lower my cooldowns by simply doing this thing. So it's cool. It's cool. It's something. So at least like let's say if you accidentally like used it on a mob that was like just about to die and you killed them and it was too fast, you could always do this to kind of, you know, get your cooldowns back so then you can be ready for the next fight. You know, so like that works. You know, you can do some tactic like that. As far as the other abilities, like I was saying that, you know, there really isn't much of a range build in this set. I experimented with Orb of Decay and also the Essence Rapture or Rupture, and they're both okay. Like Essence Rupture. I don't know why I can't say it. Essence Rupture is a really good heal. Like you can basically put it on the enemy and then whoever hits it, including yourself, will get healed for damage done, basically. So it's good for that. But like that's all it is. It's just a support ability. It doesn't do any damage over time. It doesn't do anything else to kind of affect the mob. It's just that. So like that's the only downside with it. And then Orb of Decay is interesting, but I feel like they need to kind of fix it, because the way it is like you throw an orb out and then like as it's flying towards the enemy, it can pass through the enemy, do some damage, and then with the final perk on it, the detonating orb, you can blow it up to do even extra damage on top of that. So you can basically, it'll pass through the mob, it'll hit them for like 1,000, and then you blow it up and it hit them for another 1,000. So that's a really nice little burst, you know, like it's cool. But it's really hard to use because it goes so fast that it doesn't give you time to think about when to detonate it, you know? So the other feature that it has with it is that when it's flying to the enemy, it will eventually come back to you. And when it's coming back to you, it turns into a heal. So you can basically blow it up right on top of you or your group, and it will heal them for a, like 500 health or whatever. It's very low. It's not really that good. But it's cute, you know. It's a cool little concept. I really like the concept of it, but I feel like it needs to get another look at. Like it needs a little bit of a rework. For one, I wish that it would move slower. That way I had more time to actually think about when to blow it up or if I want to use it as a heal or whatever. Like I feel like it should go a little slower. And then on top of that, I feel like the heal should be buffed a lot more so that it can do you know, a little bit more healing, because like the Essence Rupture does really good healing, and then also this one right here, the Void Collar, is really good healing too. So it's pretty nice. Those two are really nice for support. So you could technically try to ghetto heal with this, but I don't fully recommend it for like a real dungeon group, because I feel like life staff is always going to be like the main go-to. But it's cool to have like an extra alternative if you wanted to do some side healing or whatever. Like it's cool. but it's not the best support on the planet Earth, you know? Like, the only real supportive ability that's really good is Oblivion. That's it, period. Like, everything else is all like pretty selfish for the most part, and is mainly about lowering its own cooldown and stuff. And that's why, you know, I'm using this build with the tether and stuff, because like I just want to lower my cooldowns enough to be able to like keep spamming abilities, and that's like the main thing I did with this. But yeah, anyway, that's it. I feel like this set really needs grit. Like, if the final ability here, this leeching blade, was replaced with like grit, I would totally take that. I would rather have grit than have leeching blade of healing. Like, I don't need the healing. My final thoughts on the Void Gauntlet is basically it's a nice weapon. It's a nice little alternative to if you're trying to main healing and stuff like that. It's cool to have an actual weapon that scales with focus, that you could be able to take advantage of doing a little bit of damage on the side and probably even some healing if you spec for it. But the biggest issue, like I was just saying, is that since there is no grit in this, it makes the melee side of it very hard to achieve when you're constantly getting knocked back all over the goddamn place. Like, you'll never have a chance to get your attacks off and never be able to achieve, like I was saying with this build, which is basically tethering and lowering cooldowns and stuff through attacks, when you're just constantly stuck on a wall all the time, you know? So the Void Blade itself really needs a buff in the way of having a grit or something on it. That way there is no issue with the constant knockback thing, especially since Hatchet already has its own grit type thing with the Berserk buff. So I wish that the Void Blade also had something similar. But overall, I think it's an okay weapon. It's not something I'm going to be using forever, I'll be honest. I still prefer Fire Staff. Ice Gauntlet is still pretty good, even though I don't really prefer it, but I definitely like it a lot more than the Void Gauntlet, to be honest. And of course, Life Staff is the shit. Nothing can replace healing with that one. So I'm hoping in the future we'll get like Nature Staff, something to compete with the Life Staff. But so far, Life Staff is still the shit for healing. And then Void Gauntlet is just like an extra little side thing. I don't know. You could probably make it work with a side build with healing, but it's not very viable, so it's kind of meh. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Void Gauntlet. Hope you liked the video. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later, y'all.